The main concern of having too many interests is just how do you actually manage them once you have a few down? I tend to manage multiple things by rotating them in a specific way, and it's based off lists. And this has worked for me very well over the years. So, as usual, I'll lay out what I do, and you can draw some ideas from it and make it work for your own lifestyle. I tend to rotate the things I like to do in seasons. This basically means moving your interests around in different categories based on the season that you want to be in. So I'll lay out my exact list and maybe put it on the screen right now so you can see it and you can get a better idea of what I'm talking about. List one is absolutely doing this unless the earth explodes. These are the things that you're just really set on doing. Right now, for me, it's guitar, Japanese, and doing this. Something extreme has to come up in order for me to not do these. The next list is the most likely will do list. This list I pretty much do get to every day, but maybe not. Maybe if I have some other stuff that comes up or life in general, this is the most likely will do list. List three is it is what it is list. And, just based on the name, it is what it is. If I get to it, great. If I don't, great. Now, I do not list things like work, school, and those other obligations in this because I only want to count the interests here. That, I believe, is just a separate lifestyle that you kind of have to cater to on its own. I'll probably say this multiple times, but your list will have different amounts of things in each of them. Maybe you can only fit one item in list one. So do that. It's all about what you can fit. This is just my list right now. It's probably going to change in October. That's like the time frame I'm thinking. But for now, this is mine. You'll have to make your own, and I'll explain a little bit on how to do this throughout this video. Okay, how often to change seasons and what to change. I rarely change each day. I mostly change by the weeks, either 1 week or 2 weeks at a time, and sometimes I'll go by months. I'll say this also, some will stay in certain places depending on your lifestyle at that time, or your lifestyle in general. Again, how many are in each will be up to you, but I'm just gonna encourage you that a lot of this is trial and error. You're gonna overshoot category one, that's totally okay. That's kind of what you're supposed to do. I would say test the limits, that's how I find mine. But you'll have to rearrange the things as you see fit. Your life, what you have going on, 9 to 5, school, family, all that kind of stuff. These days for me, it's usually something musical in category one. However, it wasn't always like this. It used to be combat sports and music was kind of in category two. I'll give you a quick insight on how to rearrange yours. So for years, combat sports, like I said, was in category one for me. I trained maybe twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. But that's because that was the only thing I was really into like that. These days, I'm not trying to be a professional fighter. I'm not trying to compete in tournaments and all that other stuff. So it's in my I'll get to it if I get to it list. I bring this up to say I can afford to do this because I have a lot of natural talent in this area. And this is something that I want you to identify in your interest. I can literally step away from jujitsu or kickboxing or MMA in general for a year straight. I have before, and I can come back and spar and train, and my cardio is still there, my flexibility, my technique. It's as if I never really left the gym in the first place. But since I identify that, and I have no intention on trying to be a professional fighter, I can afford to keep that in category 3 or 2 pretty much for good now. On the inverse, intellectual activities, I can't really afford to keep those in category 3. I put those into like language and more mental tasks. Those things I can't really let go of that long or else it'll start to dissipate. But since I understand that, I know how to organize my categories. Kinetic activities, however, which I would also include music, piano, guitar, combat sports, all that, I can step away for months and I can come back and it's literally as if I never left in the first place. You'll have to really take the time to figure out what works for you and just what's most important to you anyways. I envy people who can step away from a language for a long time and still speak it. If I step away too long, it starts to just go. And that's just how it is. I understand my limitations though, so I have to continuously keep up with it. Okay, adding new interests. In my opinion, if you're adding something new to your routine, it should definitely go in category 1 and it should stay there until you see some sort of competency in it. So for example, say I started learning Turkish today. I cut the camera off, I look up vocab words, I get started. That would stay in my list one, probably until I'm conversationally fluent, which means I could hang out with a Turkish person and we could hang out all day, talk about whatever, as long as it's not too specific. But that would be an ideal goal for me because then I could actually afford to maybe put it in two, probably not three, but maybe two, and I won't really lose much. But the key here is reaching some sort of competency in it. You don't want to put something new in category one and then a week later get rid of it. Reference video one about this topic and you'll know more of what I'm talking about. By the way, the more interest you have, the more interest you'll have in category three. That's probably going to be your longest list because you naturally just won't be able to do tier one or list one with 5 different interests unless you just have that kind of time. And you can just pick and choose from those whenever you want. With all of this though, please do not be robotic. This is not a math equation. This is not some secret formula you have to go sit down and compute. Just trial and error your way into finding a routine that works for you. That's probably the best advice I can give on this topic. Concerns. Losing skill in some area. Now, I kind of addressed this earlier, but this is where the trial and error really comes into play. Can you go a couple months without intently playing guitar? If not, maybe that just never leaves category one or two. Can you go a while without drawing or sports or photography or something like that? I don't know, whatever you want to do. Can you go a while without it without losing some skill? These are things you really want to pay attention to. Again, I listed mine for an example, so you can kind of go off that. What seems natural to you? What are you more talented in? What do you grasp quite easily? Keep those maybe in 2 and 3 after you have a solid foundation. But those other ones that give you trouble, maybe you just don't let go of it. Okay, some other concepts to help you out. Can you account for your time throughout the day? Now, this is not me gaslighting you or telling you you're wasting time. Y'all know I'm not that kind of dude. I'm just trying to give you an idea of what you should start thinking about. Can you actually list out in your day where your time is going? And if you can't, try to start fixing that. Is it going to social media? Is it going to messaging? Are you still checking your inbox to see if that girl messaged you back when you know she's not? Are you stuck on YouTube watching a bunch of shorts or watching a bunch of videos and not really doing anything? You really want to make sure you know where your time is going. I know I often use silly examples, but you get the point. Just start to be aware of this. You're not going to fix this in a day. So know that right away too. You're not going to fix this today. This is something you want to start having awareness of. So over time, you can optimize your routine. Along with that, do not stress about every single second of the day. You don't need to know what you did at 8:05 to 8:17. It's not that deep. You just need to know what's taking away the majority of your time. I mentioned this before, but the reason I don't keep apps on my phone is because I press the button. I can't keep Instagram on my phone or Facebook. Sometimes even YouTube, I take it off because I know myself. I know I'll press the button, I'll start looking, I'll start scrolling. My buddies sent me a bunch of memes. I send them back. Now, next thing you know, I've lost out on an hour of guitar practice. So for me, I understand my limitations and it's important for you to find yours and what works for you. Maybe you can have that stuff on your phone. I know I can't, so I just work with what I have. Another concept on time is something I call fill in the gaps, which is basically, say you have a little bit of downtime at work or your downtime in commuting or something like that. Maybe study a few vocabulary words or look up some music theory that you're going to practice when you get back home. Little things that you can kind of creatively figure out on your own. Try to fill in the gaps with something that's useful for you later. So if you're an artist, maybe analyze paintings or drawing or something like that, or plan out what you're going to do when you get home. These little gaps don't seem like much, but over time, they really do equate to a lot of action that you can take. Okay, the next one, nutrition and health. Now, this is a pretty big topic, but I'm only gonna go over the basics here and some stuff that you can take away without having to go to a whole nutrition school and all that. Here are 6 things that I consume almost every day, and I'm gonna tell you why I do it. Number 1 is eggs. Eggs give you pretty much everything you need as far as nutrients, except for vitamin C. I eat about 8 to 10 a day, but that's just because I train a lot. Other than that, I would probably recommend 3 to 4 because you'll get a lot of those vitamins and minerals that you need. And the cholesterol in it is really good for your body and brain. I'll put some information about it on the screen rather than read it out. So you can screenshot these because I'm not about to just read you a script. But I will put some information on the screen and you can come back and reference these for all these food groups whenever you want to. The next one is oranges. Now, like I said, eggs lack vitamin C, but oranges have a lot. 2 oranges gives you just about all the vitamin C you need in a day. I could be wrong, but that's what I learned. Immune system benefits is a big part of oranges, but it also is good for your skin, your joints, and your bones too. As well as vitamin C increases circulation to your brain. So that means for us, you can learn a lot better. Ground beef is another one I consume. Now this has pretty much what eggs and vitamin C has, some other things too, collagen, but it also has a lot of iron in it. Iron improves oxygen flow to the brain and it increases your ability to focus. So if you lack focus, it doesn't have to be ground beef, but try to get things with more iron in your diet. Blueberries and raspberries. And so berries in general have the ability to get past what's called the blood-brain barrier. I know I sound like a scientist right now, even though I always talk about that in a bad way, but just hear me out a little bit. It can get to your brain better, and it actually improves a lot of the cognitive functions that you're going to be doing when it comes to learning or producing good quality work. Sea salt. Now this is really good for nerve function and electrolyte balance in general. This is just something you want to start putting on your foods, eggs, your animal foods that you eat, other things like that. You can even sprinkle a little bit in some water and drink it. It'll help you keep a lot of those electrolytes. Water, obviously, just drink some water. And green tea. I know I said 6. I think green tea would be number 7, but water is like, I have to say it because someone might say it in the comments. We know how that goes. Green tea is probably one you don't need to go out and get or actually spend a lot of time worrying about. But I notice for me, if I have some food in my stomach and I drink some green tea, I focus a lot better. So maybe it'll help you out too. A bonus one is coffee. I don't drink coffee every day just because I naturally have a lot of energy. So I'm not trying to be shaking all over the room and sweating and all that. Coffee's fine, but don't put all that goofy stuff in it, sugar and extra milk and creamers and all that. Just black coffee if you can. And then coconut oil sometimes I'll do as well. You don't have to be super specific with what you eat. These are just things that I try to consume almost every day. But if you want a general list, like a concept to follow, you can just think about sea salt, animal protein, fruit, and whole foods in general. And a quick note on cooking oils, try to opt for beef tallow, butter, things that are just animal fat. Avocado oil is good, but try to stay away from those seed oils like sunflower, canola. I'll list them on the screen. All this is fine in moderation, but these seed oils, I'm not gonna go on that rant. Just try to opt for the more natural cooking substances. Again, that's just a quick rundown. We'll do a whole video someday on this channel. I don't know when, but someday I'll do like a long walkthrough of what I eat and why I eat it. But this will get you pretty far, and it'll pretty much get you all the results that you are looking for as far as cognitive function and whatnot. My results with this in general have been amazing. You know, I have way more energy these days than I did in my 20s and my teens. I learn a lot better. I retain information a lot better. Also notice ADHD type symptoms don't really affect me like they used to. For me, I noticed that my brain does not really have all that brain fog anymore. I don't feel like switching to 10 different things all the time. So I'm not saying that's the cure to ADHD. Don't come in the comments with something weird. This is just what I feel. Honestly, if I can be real, it feels like I have the Mario star. You know, the invincibility star. That's how I feel all day. When I wake up, I don't need coffee. I don't need anything. I just get up. I have a lot of energy, a lot of focus, and I can pretty much do everything I want to do in a day. Now, this part is more important than the first part, and it's really things that I avoid. So nutrition in general, it's better to focus on what not to do than what to do, because there's 20 different ways that you can eat a proper diet, but there's only a few ways you can ruin it. So it's better to focus on those things that you want to get out of your life. Number 1 is sugar. Now, I gotta say this, fruit sugar and that fake processed sugar, they're two totally different things. I eat a lot of fruit and I don't have any adverse effects that regular sugar gives you. But if I eat the regular sugar, the processed garbage basically, I will feel the effects of that. Someone may argue me on that, but again, this is my experience. Number 2 is packaged foods. I typically just stay away from them because they have a bunch of laboratory ingredients that I can't even read, and I'm not trying to eat all that. So that's pretty much it. And the last one's alcohol. I don't really drink it at all anymore, but I understand if you do drink it, it is going to affect your ability to learn and retain skills. I'm not saying you have to never drink again, but just try to understand the reality of that. That's all. But with all of this nutritional stuff, understand you're still a human. I'm not saying you have to eat perfect and drink the most correct things all day. Just keep in mind that it's what your body is usually getting. A couple bad things here and there does not affect you at all. It doesn't set you a day back and nothing happens. You don't destroy your brain cells, but it's more so about what's habitually coming into your body. And a note on calories really quick. Don't really focus on calories. I think if you focus on nutrition, like vitamins and minerals, your body actually removes a lot of waste on its own, and it knows how not to store things we don't actually need. Rest. This is the next concept I want to go over, especially in this space where everybody's an alpha, sigma, gamma, all these superhumans and all that. I'm a big proponent of rest. I sleep about 7 hours a night. That's what my body needs. And I'm not sacrificing that just to do more stuff. Because in my experience, if I try to wake up a little earlier without sleeping earlier to do something, it's not as good. If I play guitar, it's not as good. If I play piano, it's not as good. Studying time is not as good. So I like to prioritize my rest, and then when I'm awake, just work really hard and make those hours count. There's a lot of people on the internet who would tell you sleeping 8 hours a day is bad and blah, blah, blah. Just please do not listen to those people. You need quality rest if you want quality results. That's just how life works in general. Also, your brain does a lot of cleaning and learning when you're sleeping. So look that up, really read into that, and it's going to encourage you to prioritize your sleep, because you can grind as much as you want, but if your brain is not doing its part, it's not going to benefit you. Now, this part, I just want to explain part one of this little too many interests series and why I believe in one at a time. This is important to think long term in. I know it sounds weird when I say one at a time as far as your interest, and you'll be good at everything in the long run. But in 5 years, if you were to go at things one at a time, you'll be way better than if you were to do it all at the same time, kind of a little bit over 5 years. That time is going to go by anyways, so you may as well use it correctly. This is just my opinion and what I see in myself. There's no way all the stuff I do now, there's no way I could have started all that at the same time. I think I would have burnt out a long time ago, or I just would have never got results in these areas. Okay, much like any of my videos, come back and reference this when you need to. These videos in general are like a textbook where you watch the whole thing maybe. Well, you don't read a whole textbook, but you know what I'm saying. Come back and look at certain parts whenever you need it. If you need a refresher on nutrition, just come back and look at that. Or the categories I talked about, just come back and look at that. But make sure you're coming back for a refresher and then you go take action. As always, I'm just going to tell you to go take action because that's where the results happen. These videos are nice and it's good that you're listening. And if you made it this far, that's a lot. But you still have to take a lot of action. So do not let that go to waste. Anyhow, if you found this helpful, you can like and subscribe, or I will send this bullet bill to come see you. And the rest of this video is just going to be me practicing piano probably. So you can do whatever you want. Go practice, read the comments, run down the street. I don't care what you do. Love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.